Okay, we are getting into a brand new best of three. So again, before we get into this, we certainly appreciate all the feedback I'm seeing in Twitch chat about your thoughts on bot restrictions versus YouTube guys. It's in Twitch chat, so it's going to get lost. My best suggestion would be tweet or send messages here on the channel if you really have strong opinions about anything. Because while I can't say we will always react based on things, we can always take these thoughts into consideration. But I can't do it if it's in Twitch chat. So anyways, we are in game number 1. In the bottom left side of the map, Dust Towers is going to be Harstem.
And top right, as the red Protoss, it's ShoWTimE.
Okay, so a lot of people were actually saying ShoWTimE's got this when the bets opened before we even hopped into this first game. I would actually put my bets on Harstem for this, not because Harstem's like a guy who I like and blah blah blah. I actually think it's because we saw such a good series out of him versus Mana in his favor recently. So I know his PvP is good, whereas ShoWTimE's is just I've heard that it's good, so I don't actually know.
Well, we've been seeing differences in regions, most, I guess, obviously, in PvP, different styles. So it seems that Europe has just gone to a lot of Nexus, well, I shouldn't say Nexus first, but quick Nexus anyways, whether it's after Gateway or after Summit X-Core. They just play a more macro-oriented game as opposed to a lot of cheese and all-ins like we see for Korea. So I guess that's going to happen here. It's also Dusk Towers, so very, very macro-oriented map. I don't know. It usually goes in a Blink, Stalker, Disruptor, but we have been seeing people try and go for Charge Lot, Immortal Archon. I think Disruptor does is like the end-all be-all, though. Like, it is what's going to win in an ideal scenario where you actually get the Disruptors to hit.
But immediately, for both players, this game gets a little bit red flaggy because there were full wall-offs. So the question really is, like, what's it going to be? Now, we see it's going to be Stargates. They have no idea. And if it's a blind Oracle into a blind Phoenix, that's already going to be a very one-sided game. I will say, though, just thinking back, actually, on what was it, T-Bull versus Mana, Harstem and ShoWTimE have that same, I'd say, level of, watch out for DTs.
Yeah. Like, Mana and T-Bull were, like, the outliers in this whole, like, region difference. It's like Mana was, like, quite aggressive, and it's showing, actually, quite a few all-lanes in all of his matchups that are...
You're getting into game.
Yeah, I guess that's what I would expect from him, but they're working. Matthias Cash. At Matthias Cash.
Yeah, that was weird. I went to go check the donation, and I accidentally hit play on that YouTube, so the link had open. So that's closed now. Sorry about that, guy. Yeah, Matthias Cash for subscribing. Thank you so much.
Woo-hoo.
What is it? I feel like it's weird to be counting our subs still because we've already just blown it out of the water. Like, we took a stick of dynamite to go fishing with our sub count, and we ended up with...
Best way.
1,053 subscribers. That's so crazy to me. I cannot wait to upload all the new emotes, because we talked about this earlier today, right? Like, we forgot one of the cool things we unlock when you get this many subscribers is new emoticons. Now, we talked about blind versus blind, and it looks like ShoWTimE did go for a Stalker and a Phoenix, and he is going to be well equipped to deal with Harstem. Harstem's not going to get any damage with this.
Yeah, so this is... Nope, not even.
He's got to go in for a probe. The Phoenix is faster, so he's got to just get what he can out of this, and unfortunately what he gets is two probes.
Yeah.
Not so great.
No, certainly not worth the Oracle, but the Stargate opener is still not necessarily that bad. What would be really interesting, though, is that they go into Phoenix versus Phoenix, which you used to see once every, like, I don't know, 100 PvPs in Heart of the Swarm, but for whatever reason, we've been seeing a lot more in Legacy of the Void.
A problem with this is I think Harstem was going to go Phoenix, expecting this to be one Stargate versus one Stargate. It's actually two for ShoWTimE, and that Phoenix production is that's gonna rock it up pretty quickly. And one of the things to worry about is, like, Phoenix Wars. We've talked about this so many times recently. We saw them in the random versus random tournament. They can be quite stupid. They can be quite good. It all depends on how well these players approach the situations. I still think, I mean, out of all the pros we've watched, and out of the Korean Phoenix vs. Phoenix Wars, I still say, like, combination Rotterdam and In Control have shown us some of the best Phoenix Wars I think we've ever seen. Not those two fighting together, but rather those two on the other side of it.
Certainly the one with the most comeback potential, because usually Phoenix versus Phoenix ends up being like Muta versus Muta, so it becomes clear after a while who's going to win just with higher numbers, and then they snowball. But already Harstem taking a surprising start, considering that he is only the one gateway or one star gate, but now he's getting a second one. He's also getting to the range faster, so this should be a scenario where neither one is really comfortable pushing into each other. Like, you would really have to be like, okay, I'm certain I have more Phoenixes, and I'm certain that I have the range to go into it. And this game should continue on for a while.
Well, what's interesting is, like, ShoWTimE is kind of dedicating a lot of Phoenix early on like this, and Harstem's control choosing to focus fire was odd and strange, and okay, all of a sudden this becomes quite bad. I was going to start talking about range, but kind of irrelevant. Photon Overcharge will be nice. Get some more shots off on that Phoenix. Won't kill it, however. Harstem does now have 2 Stargates versus 2 Stargates now. They're both going to go for Anion Pulse Crystals. They're both going to eventually have range. But where we saw players who were off racing struggle with that range, I got to imagine 2 players well practiced in PvP know how to use this correctly. Because I think it was like, what, BCQD versus somebody, or I don't even remember. We were talking about the range being kind of negligible depending on the situation, and then it ended up not being because of how poorly the Phoenixes were handled by the other player. This time, I imagine, even if it was still like no range versus range, I can't imagine it would get that out of hand. Because I actually have a lot of, I guess, we'll call it respect for Harstem and ShoWTimE to use this correctly. Now, Harstem is trying to keep these Phoenix alive. He knows his range is almost done. Unfortunately, getting in range of the Phoenix means that he's going to stay in range, and that Anion Pulse Crystal's advantage, even if he had it, not going to be here.
Yeah, I really thought this game was going to go on longer, but ShoWTimE, he took that first fight
look at that
really
micro.
well.
Oh, that's
That was pretty cool. And then he takes this fight really well, even though Harstem had a couple of stalkers on the ground trying to help out.
That snapback was so sexy. Like, I actually really like that.
Yeah, that was some good micro. And now ShoWTimE has this lead in Phoenixes, 9-3, where, you know, Harstem will obviously win if he gets in the exact range that his Anion Pulse Crystals give him, but it's very hard to do that, and it would have to be now as well, because ShoWTimE's is almost done. Harstem going for the upgrade is actually going to help him for quite some time. A +1 doesn't really do very much, and well, I guess it's not going to end right here, right now. They're going both to 4 bases, but certainly ShoWTimE has won the Phoenix War.
Funny enough, though, well, in a lot of circumstances, with Harstem having dedicated to this and losing, you'd be like, okay, well, he's out. Instead, he chooses to double down. Like, he goes for a 3rd Stargate. He's really going to try and come back into the Phoenix Wars rather than transition out to something like Archons or what we've seen less of, but sometimes exclusively Templar for feedbacks. Unfortunately, right now, he just doesn't have the means to fight, though. 8 versus 13.
Right.
Even with the defensive overcharge and even with stalkers on the ground, that would be too risky of a fight to take.
Of course, ShoWTimE doesn't want to actually pick up those stalkers that kill them, unless he's like absolutely sure the other Phoenixes aren't around, just in case that does, you know, take a couple of, well, Phoenixes out of the equation. They're both going up to triple Stargates, in fact, quadruple for Harstem, who's not giving up on the Phoenix War yet.
I know, like, he's really going to try and get ahead, but the funny thing is that at some point he's going to cap out. He's not going to have the gas or the money to actually produce from however many, like, if he goes 5 Stargates, 6 Stargates, like, please calm down, Harstem.
Yeah.
Luckily, Phoenixes are relatively cheap, considering what air units cost for Protoss, so producing from this isn't too insane. And he does need that burst of production to catch up. He's still down by 5.
Eventually it's going to get there. His upgrade's going to finish for this fight, but not before all of his Phoenixes get wrecked, so there goes.
That goes from, like, being... He's still 5 down at the end of it. The Stalkers are going to try and clean this up, but now comes the ground push out of ShoWTimE.
There you go.
GG. Map number 1 is going to go to ShoWTimE.
Phoenix versus Phoenix is stupid.
It is quite silly. It is, you know, you equated it to Muta versus Muta, and to a small extent kind of is, with the way it is more about numbers than anything else. But okay, map number 2 is going to be taking place on Ruins? Okay. Oh, I think I missed... We played on Ruins earlier. I don't know if I hit the intro for it. I actually really like... So, gonna just toot my own horn here real quick, guys. The Ruins of Ceres intro is actually really tough to do because I ended up taking... It's like 3 variations of the same song and having to mash them together, which I'm not... I'm a lot better at video editing than I am at audio editing. So that was quite a challenge, and hopefully it doesn't sound too obvious in the intro. Don't we need Take TV in here?
I did invite them.
Okay. All right, we are getting into game number 1. Or sorry, 2. I don't know why I said 1, because I want to put 1 on the scoreboard. That's why. There you go. In the top right, we've got the guy who's down 1 in the series. It's the Pink Protoss Harstem.
In the top left, as the red Protoss, he is ShoWTimE.
Okay, so for that game, I mean, like, it's really hard to say that was, oh my god, so much, like, skill out of ShoWTimE, and he just blew Harstem out of the water, and it wasn't even a close game. Like, Phoenix versus Phoenix Wars, as you said, were stupid in a bit of a funny manner, but it is actually just kind of that, and they are... There was a small moment where you saw some of the snapback on the Phoenix. We'll continue to move forward. Like, ShoWTimE's control was pretty cool, and I'm not going to pretend like he doesn't put in like 110% to win that game. But at the same time, like, that's not a build that I feel is really... I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't want to say skill-based because that's not correct, but it is like you got numbers, so you won, plain and simple.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the more neutral way of saying it is that he kind of almost a build order win. You know, he had the Phoenix to stop the Oracle, so
right.
Already Harstem has failed on that. And then he had the second Stargate, where Harstem was only just realizing the scenario. Now, Harstem still had an opportunity to bring it back. If he had done everything that he did, but did not lose the very first fight, like that one questionable fight that he took, maybe everything else he did after that would have been actually a key to bringing it back. But ShoWTimE did have the whole Phoenix versus Phoenix war to set up a lot better. It was almost like a Zerg had scouted the Spire, and the other Zerg hadn't, so, you know, one got Carapace, the other one didn't. Those things happen, and it's just ShoWTimE, maybe a little bit of luck there. Stargate openers are very popular in PvP right now. It's like Stargate opener or maybe early aggression with gateways. But to anticipate the other opponent going for an Oracle was not like just, oh my god, he was so lucky. It was just smart. But to anticipate the Phoenix Wars afterwards was a little riskier.
And to speak on that point too, a big part of why we're seeing that be the case, nice snipe on the probe, really has to do with, while Disruptor and Blink Stalkers is cool and we like it and all that good stuff, a lot of players really don't, and it's stressful and they really wish it wasn't the case. So things like Phoenixes can A, pick up the Disruptors, and B, just sometimes end games before you have to worry about Disruptors. And I'm not saying that that's the exact cause of these Stargate openers being more popular, but it's certainly helping.
Well, 2 Adepts run in here. Harstem to go for the Adepts, while ShoWTimE just went for the Stalkers right off the bat and was getting 2 more. I mean, the last game, it was Dust Towers. They went for some fairly early, very early Nexus. Harstem's going to be able to see that ShoWTimE's getting his. Harstem is going to get his, actually, right afterwards. And it's not nearly as greedy as it was in the last game, but it is going to go into the mid-game nonetheless. So, Stargate versus this early robo from ShoWTimE.
I wonder if the Hallucinated Phoenix will be spook Harstem or not.
I don't know.
He's not going to see it. So, it is just a scout.
Yeah, it'd be really odd for the Phoenix, one Phoenix, be sent across the map like that, unless he was really desperate to scout, which is, I guess, possible. But, gonna attack at the front, and then attack with the Oracle. Yep, yeah. Distracting.
Overcharge is here, though, so that third pylon in the back, really important. We've actually seen a lot of cases where the Oracle comes in and just kind of gets to chill in the middle of the 2 mineral lines. Keeps it alive, though, which is really nice. Front of the map, it doesn't go too poorly for either player, but Harstem is still going to be the one who has to back away. The transfer might go through, though. Yeah.
There's a little bit of odd, like, trajectory on that Oracle in the first place, but lucky that it survived. So while the council on the way for Harstem, I guess he's going to be the first one to get that blink. Or ShoWTimE's going to have a lot more coverage with these observers. Although with the 2 Oracles, Harstem should not be for the lack of scouting. Why am I an octopus?
What?
What is happening in chat right now?
I don't know. I was just finding something else. Your octopus comment really caught me off guard.
What?
What? All right. What? So the Oracle gets about 5 kills. And for Harstem, 5 kills is nice, but while it does give him a probe lead, it is a very different tech game being played. Blink going to be done for him. way before I guess ShoWTimE even thinks about it. Now, the question really is, though, does this end up like Stalkers, or does this go to the next stage where it is eventually Disruptors coming to play?
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't really look to be so eager to attack each other, so I'm guessing it's going to come to those Disruptors, so I guess maybe an Immortal push could also happen. It's almost exactly like what it was when it was with Colossus, in that you do want to have that buffer usually of 1 or 2 Immortals, and then a PvP in Heart of the Swarm. I think people are always going for 3, and then go into Colossus. To go straight to Disruptors is always going to be risky, as they are one-shot wonders, and they have a fairly long cooldown. Just gotta make sure you don't die to something before that.
Yeah. I like the activity on the Oracle. It unfortunately doesn't get a lot done. I'm not able to throw down a stasis ward or anything like that. But just the revelation tags here and there, scouting, maybe putting ShoWTimE on his toes, as he does have to leave a lot of these units in the mineral lines. Means he's not pushing either.
That's true. I mean, they both... Well, does ShoWTimE actually have an observer anywhere close to Harstem's base?
No, it's just
No?
the natural, so...
Just chilling. So Hallucinated Phoenix is necessary to see what Harstem's up to.
And he's been consistently throwing these across the map for the last couple of minutes anyway, so... Now for Harstem, when he to have this Hallucinated Phoenix get at the base, this actually looks... you can be like, oh, this is surprisingly similar. What is this, Bizarro world? I guess the question is, combination that third, which did get scouted, by the way, should alert ShoWTimE to take his own, and in fact, there we go. And then also, who takes the next robo step to get towards said Disruptors?
Well, no one's taken that step yet. Harstem went for that really fast third base, which was scouted. And, ShoWTimE responded with his own not too late afterwards. They got a Warp Prism and +1. So he warps into depths. That'll be pretty good. Okay, they both get Warp Prism. What else is new? They're both Protoss.
Yeah, I mean, this could very well be for sneak attacks or just frontline reinforcements. You can't put proxy pylons down like you used to, of course. And
yeah.
I don't think anyone wants to invest in gateways this late into the game, at least.
So, yeah, proxy gateways, that is, right?
Yeah.
So...
No, you're not allowed to make any more gateways.
Yeah, I know someone's going to bring that up as they build 4 extra gateways.
Yeah.
The supplies are pretty even here. Harstem has a bit in the economy, but is lower on that army. And ShoWTimE, if he took an engagement, might have a really good time. But it is so close that it would be entirely micro-dependent. I mean, the Immortals, I guess you're going to add, like, a ton here. Of course, Harstem didn't go for his own Immortals, not yet. And he might not. Like, he might try and go straight to Disruptors after this very long time of just depending on Blink Stalkers. And those Immortals will be the trickiest thing to micro against for Harstem, to either try and knock them down as quickly as possible, or to try and just, micro against their damage.
Well, when it comes to the fight, that +1's going to be really nice for Harstem. The Stalker count is a little bit even, but the Immortal count being the favorite here for ShoWTimE. But on Overcharge gets popped a little bit late, gets some decent shots, blinks forward, always scary, into Immortals, you got to be careful. Harstem's Stalker count is still holding pretty strong, but those 2 Immortals are going to be serious. Like, I feel almost game breakers, game enders potentially. But the Overcharge was doing a lot, does a lot more here as well. Pushes this back one more time. New reinforcement line out of ShoWTimE gives him a small lead. And Harstem, unfortunately, he pulled probes into this, and it didn't get him ahead. 13 workers sacrificed for what feels like nothing.
Yeah, but he is still fine on the worker count, so he can still, come back from this. He was actually able to take down the army, which... I don't know, he's having a very tough time doing. He warped in one single Zealot to try and soak some damage from, ideally, the Immortals, but it didn't really do that. And going up his own ramp is going to go ahead and lose the game.
That is
GG.
Sadly going to be it for Harstem here in the winner's bracket, but don't worry, Harstem still has an entire loser's bracket he can go through, and it is the top one of both, I believe, as 2 players will qualify through today, so... not that his odds get any worse going down there, they just unfortunately stop here in the winner's bracket. Now, next match is going to be ShoWTimE versus Snoot in a PvZ, and I actually favor ShoWTimE in this one. Snoot's been struggling a little bit recently, but I would love to see him do well. Either way, winner of that then plays against Nurtio, and winner of that goes on to the qualifying match. Top half of the bracket has a Laser, Bly, and Tefl, so it will be Zerg versus something guaranteed. And being the fact that it's Europe, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Zerg versus Zerg.
Yep.
Regardless, we are going to take a break while we get this next series sorted out. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and hopefully you'll enjoy this next series with ShoWTimE versus Snoot when we return.